All right, welcome back. Week 12, Chick Number Sports Podcast. I'm Dan, joined by my co-hosts Matt and Zach. How you guys doing this week?
Doing very well. Villanova in the Final Four. Let's go. Anyways.
I'm doing well. Villanova, I don't know how far they'll go without Justin Moore, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
talk about that. But we got a good episode today. College basketball, bunch of NBA stuff this week for the first time in a little while, and then some NFL and MLB stuff. But before we get into all that, Matt, last week you said on the podcast that if St. Peter's beat Purdue, you'd run a naked mile. Do we have an update on that
one? That is a work in progress. I'm not sure the ramifications or the the potential of how that's gonna work out, but I'm aware that I said it. I'm aware that I said it, and it will be done.
All right. Well, we can get into some Sweet 16 stuff here. I don't know. What do you guys think about Sweet 16?
I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I did say my bold take UNC was going to go to the Final Four, and they're in the Final Four.
Well. They are. Yep.
But I don't think we all expected the way they would go to the Final Four, being St. Peter's beating Purdue like outright. But nonetheless, UNC. I mean, it's funny how all this chaos in March, and we've ended with like four of the most consistently good teams the past 20 years. So it all works out.
All four of the blue blood teams, and they are just consistently like among the top. And but yeah, I thought the games were like fine. I mean, obviously I'm about to talk about Villanova real quick. I mean, in the Sweet 16, they shut down was it Hunter Dickinson, shut him down, just letting him just shoot free throws. And they were very good. And then in the Houston game, I'm not gonna lie, it was a pretty damn boring game. I didn't really think that it was that interesting, but I think it was just like a good example of Villanova basketball. Like, they are just such a well-disciplined team. They even with a 6-man rotation, they still have threats, legitimate threats everywhere. And they just played amazing defense, not just in the Houston game, but this entire tournament. But
yeah,
and it's
they
really deserve to be in the Final Four now.
One quick thing about Villanova's defense: Houston in the Elite Eight scored 44 points. Kansas in the second half scored 47.
Yeah,
so that's very impressive.
I should say enough. Which does get me into the elephant in the room. Justin Moore, man. I am just, it's so sad. Like, because you could make the argument that he was the best player on that team. Like, I don't think he is, but like you could definitely make the argument. Like, he's a very aggressive shot taker. And I like that. He's a pretty good defender, and he rebounds pretty well for a guard, I would say. And man, a torn Achilles. It's really tough.
Didn't it happen at the end of the game too?
Yeah,
it was right at the end.
within the last 2 minutes of the game too.
Yeah.
And I almost shed a tear when I saw Justin Moore crying, man. We were celebrating, but it was quite bittersweet.
Yeah.
It really sucks.
I mean, I had a couple thoughts about the Sweet 16. I think I was honestly more impressed with Providence in the game against Kansas than I was with Kansas with the way they came back. I mean, they almost won that game after being down big. Purdue just turned the ball over way too much to beat St. Peter's. I mean, and then St. Peter's just kept answering everything they did. They tried to go to Zach Edey a lot with the height advantage, and he couldn't really get it done. And then
really didn't do much.
With Gonzaga, I think Arkansas played the better game, but Gonzaga did get screwed a little bit with some foul calls on Chet Holmgren that I think could have changed the outcome of that game, or at least made it a little closer towards the end. And then with Arizona, they just got punched in the mouth by Houston in the beginning, and couldn't come back. And then, yeah, we can move on to the Elite Eight. I mean,
I just want to say one more thing quickly. Just my fault, really quick. Arizona lost to Houston, right? Who then got severely outplayed by Duke. And I think not enough people are talking about, I guess this goes into my the predictions, but I don't think people are really talking about how like good Duke is. I feel like people acknowledge Duke is good, but I mean, I don't like they've won every game very convincingly so far.
Yeah.
They've looked really good.
But I think also like it just shows like the talent level of the starting lineup. Just alone, you have someone that can be like a really good dependable scorer at every single position, every single one.
Yep.
Like it is just the talent level is insane, and they've been playing up to their potential really this entire tournament. And that's something that we don't always see with Duke. They on paper they always look really, really good, and then somehow lose to like an 8 seed. But which could happen. Which could happen to
it could happen this week.
It could happen, but like it's different because it's in the Final Four. Which it's really crazy how Duke and North Carolina are back at it again. Wow.
Should we just jump into our predictions for this game?
Yeah, I just want to say real quick for the Elite Eight. I mean, Miami go to run, but they choked in the second half. 15 points in the second half.
Same.
It's not going to get it done. And then as for the Houston game, I mean, the difference was the 3-point shooting. I mean, both teams shot horrendously in that game. I think both teams were under 30% from the field.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Villanova was 5 for 21 from 3, and Houston was 1 for 20. And I mean, they lost by 6. So that was the difference.
One hand.
Yeah,
that was a difference. With one finger.
And then St. Peter's, I mean, historic run, but they were severely outmatched. I honestly think it was good that they lost that game because, I mean, I think they would have got blown out by Duke in the Final Four.
Yeah.
And it makes for a better matchup with Duke UNC.
They were clearly overmatched. They just got really hot at the right time, but I can't take anything.
No, great run.
Really good run.
They can't be upset with
good Cinderella run. Yeah. And they're gonna get a lot of funding after this year.
Yeah.
Say that
they're gonna celebrate.
And it's kind of funny. One more thing, I just want to say it's kind of funny that like the face of St. Peter's is a 6-man
bench player.
It's a 6-man.
He's not even the 6th man. He's like the 8th man.
Yeah, and he's just had a really good tournament.
Not the last game.
Certainly not the last game, but up until that point, he had a really good tournament. And the guy doesn't even eat sandwiches.
So weird.
Like it's really fitting, honestly. Like just it's like such a not like odd, but definitely like out of the blue character, like to be the face of St. Peter's. It was really good. It was a really good run. And I can't take anything away from that.
Yeah, and we can get into Final Four championship prediction. That's this next Saturday and Monday. Is the Final Four and championship. So 4 Blue Bloods. We can start with you, Zach. Who do you have coming away with this one?
All right, so I guess I'll just go through my whole thing, I guess. In the Kansas Nova game, you're gonna hate me, but I'm choosing Kansas. Justin Moore's injury, I don't know if it's gonna be enough for them to overcome, especially with the talent Kansas has. I mean, they have the potential player of the year on their team. Ochai is going to be a lottery pick. I mean, Nova's great. Nova does all the fundamentals well, but there comes a point where talent overcomes fundamentals. And I think it's this time, but you can disagree, but I just think the Justin Moore injury is a lot for them to overcome when he's been as good of a player as he has been for them.
Look. I understand that Justin Moore got hurt, okay? And I understand it might be a little bit of an uphill battle, all right? But I can't pick against Jay Wright and the Nova Nation. I'm picking Villanova versus Duke. You know why? Because Jay Wright always finds a way. I mean, look, he always has one of the really good defense, especially this year. And then also I think the big X factor for Villanova will not be Colin Gillespie, but it will be Brandon Slater, because I mean this year he's been very hot and cold, and then in the tournament he's had a very, very forgettable tournament. He had multiple 0-point games, but I don't really get it. Like, his just, for some reason, his confidence just disappears out of nowhere. Like, he has, and granted, he's a rather efficient scorer when he actually shoots, but he doesn't sometimes, and it just really confuses me. Like, I think he just needs to take more shots. And if he does, then I think Kansas really will. I genuinely believe that they could keep up with Kansas as good as they are. I really think so.
So are you picking Nova to win the whole thing over Duke? So
yes.
is that what I heard? Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I cannot pick against Villanova. All right.
All right. So
we know the last 2 times that they made it to the Final Four. Right. We know, right? They
I'm
won
sure
2 rings. Two
Okay,
rings.
Congrats. Yeah. But they didn't have
they
these other
both won.
teams. And I guess I'll just go through my others quickly since you jumped the gun, but it's okay. I can't blame you. It's your team, but I'm also picking Duke over UNC. Duke's probably the most talented team in the left. I mean, they have, like I said last week, you kind of need the guy, and I don't know if North Carolina has the guy. I mean, Baycott's good, but I don't know if
Caleb
you can
Love carry them.
Caleb Love, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I can pick them over like Paolo and those guys. And then in the tournament, Duke against Kansas, I'm picking Duke. It's just comes down to talent. I mean, talent wins. That's how it is. I mean, Duke's talented. They have 4 first-round picks.
It's crazy.
In Paolo, AJ Griffin, Mark Williams, and probably Keels or more or both. I mean, compared to, I know you shouldn't compare based off of where they'll be drafted, but Kansas has great players like Remy Martin and Ochai, obviously, and
David
McCormick. But I don't know. The storylines, Duke beating UNC in the Final Four in Coach K's last season and winning the whole thing in his last season. I don't know if I can root against that. So I'm picking Duke.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, before I get into my prediction, it's funny how Matt always goes way more in depth with Villanova than he does with any other team on here.
I don't blame him.
I wonder
if you
why.
can guess where he goes to school, but I'll get into it. Nova, Kansas. I actually don't think Villanova can keep up with Kansas. I think I honestly, I might get bold prediction. I don't think this game is very close. I think Kansas blows Villanova out. And then as for Duke UNC, I'm going to go with Duke. I think that they want revenge for that last time when UNC came into Cameron and beat them in Coach K's final game. And they won't let his final game overall be against UNC, especially in the Final Four. And then in the national championship, I do have Duke beating Kansas. But I will say Kansas has had a great year. I think they've kind of got under the radar a little bit.
They definitely
I think
have.
so too.
I feel like it's a team that I don't really hear much about. And then, they're 1 seed in the tournament, and
the last 1 seed remaining.
Last 1 seed remaining, which not many people probably expected. And they definitely have a serious shot at winning the championship. But yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, I mean, every guy in the Duke lineup can score. Talabonchero is such a difference maker. AJ Griffin is gonna get his, and every other guy. I think Mark Williams is gonna shut down David McCormick.
So good.
And I think they're gonna beat Kansas, but it's gonna be a really good game. It's gonna be a shootout, I think, in the national championship.
Look, if Kansas were to beat Villanova, I could see that happening. But I will give my props to Kansas. Like, I feel like they have gone under the radar. They've just consistently been all this year around
I
the
mean, it's
top.
them every year.
Yeah, they've been around the top like pretty much the entire season with no significant drop off or like really really bad losses. And they've just quietly just stayed there. So props to and props to was it Remy Martin? He's had
Yeah.
a really really good tournament. Maybe again not maybe last game he was all right, but then every game before that just 20 point games like all over. But look, I know my bias is picking Villanova, but I will be real. I can very well see Kansas beating Villanova just because they have more depth. They are already Villanova just basically rotated through 6 guys, and now one of their best guys is gone. Now, unfortunately, Archidiakono or Brian Antoine is going to have to step up, which we just haven't seen like at all this year. So
I think it's
I
fair
could
for you
see
to
it.
root for Nova, though.
I-
If any of
I
our
mean,
teams, or
They definitely
can't-
can win it.
if Syracuse is in the
Exactly.
Final Four, I'd be heavily biased
Yeah,
against
if
for
Virginia's
them.
in the
So
Final
it's
Four.
fair.
Look, like I really like I'm trying to put my Villanova bias aside, but like
No, it's fair.
I can't pick against them. I can't. But I am a little realistic in that I can very well see Kansas beating Villanova and beating whoever it is in the championship game. But man, Jay Wright just finds a way all the time. He's one of the best coaches ever, literally ever. So like, I gotta stick with them. Got it.
Yeah, no, it's
Fair.
understandable, but like a Final Four with 4 blue bloods, really, there's no crazy team in the Final Four that you could have said before the tournament couldn't get in there.
I like this Final Four.
I do
I
too.
love it. Like you've
There's
had years
4
past, you've had like the
powerful teams.
Michigan, you had Michigan get the near Nova one, you had Loyola Chicago. That might have been that same year. Like I kind of like the traditional blue blood battling it out.
Looks like
Exactly.
we
That's-
haven't had that in a while.
That's what I think.
But-
Truly like 4 of the best programs.
Probably 4 of
in
the 5, adding probably Kentucky, maybe
If
UCLA
anything,
too.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
that's besides the point.
The best programs in the country. I really don't think we've seen it in a long time. So yeah, I like this a lot.
Yeah, and there's stars everywhere in the Final Four, on every team. But
Yeah, unbelievable.
that's what we have for college basketball. It's going to be a good championship.